Welcome to this video. In this video, we will see how do we use tools in the prompt flow. So this is the first demo that I want to showcase here. So I will be accepting two inputs and pass it to the calculator tool and print the output, as simple as that, right? So if you see here, I have two input and I have a definition here. So that takes two input and it will process and it will return the result. If you see here, the definition by itself, it's kept under tools calculator. So if I expand my project here, I have created a folder called tools. Underneath I created a file called calculator.py file. If you see here, this implementation, it's very straightforward. So all you need to do is that you need to import the tool definition here and then use it as a decorator here. So you define your function name and whatever the input that you wanted to have and the return type. So if you see here, it takes two input and adds both and return as the integer here. Let me go to the YAML definition here. So if you see here again, so input, two inputs with some default value. Maybe let me remove the default value here. And it has the node name, it's calculator, it's a Python node, and type it's code, and the code it's kept under tools folder in this particular file name. It takes two input. Right now with that, let me go and run the program here. So as usual, we will be using the test command to test this and passing two input. It should print 20 here. Let me expand this. Yeah, so this is printing 20. Maybe let me clear this one more time. So instead of let me change the input here, let me make it as a 20. So it should print 30 as it does. So what we are trying to understand here is that how do we define our own tool and use it in the prompt flow. What I want to do is that I have a Azure Search and I also have a weather API. So I should be able to use both of these in my flow. So let me go to the search here. You see here, I can look for a specific city. Then what I want to do is that I wanted to get the weather information using the weather API. So I wanted to do everything in my prompt flow. Let me go and build the flow here. The flow that I want to build. So if you see here, I am taking input as a query here. So here, if you see here, what is the weather in Paris and can you help me with the travel guide? So that information will be passed to the city name, get city name LNM. So what it will do is that if I just go over here, it will just return the name of the city. So if you just see here, so it says that, hey, analyze the user question and output that in this particular format. So whatever the query that you are going to provide, it will just return the name of the city. That will be passed to the parser here. So if you just go to the parser here, just takes out of from the JSON, just takes out of the location. So it will just return the name of the city. Right now, if we go here, so the city name will be passed to the get city information. So this is where we will be using the Azure Search, and the get weather information. This is where we will be using the weather API. So now let me go to the city information here. So city information again, we are using an external tool. So if you see here, I have created a tools. Underneath I have a search tool. Remember, I have a connection here because we are using the LLM, so I am having a connection here. So if you go to the search tool here, it's a pretty straightforward implementation. So what it does is that it connects to the search client and passes the information that we wanted, right? We are passing in. So search tech will be the query. So query will be nothing but the name of the city, right? Because that is what we are extracting here and that is what we are passing it here. Will get the relevant content, and we are also passing the same information to get weather info. So if you just see here, we are just passing the location. So we are just passing the location information here. Again, if you go to the file here, it just connects with the weather API and returns the result here. Now if I come over here, what it does is that we are creating a prompt here. So it takes all these three information, name of the city and the city information, weather information, and if you just come over here, it just creates the prompt here, right? And finally the prompt will be passed to the summary LLM if you just come over here and just uses the summary prompt, which is nothing but this prompt. So if you see here, like we are passing the prompt output here as an input to this LLM, and the input user's query input, right? So now with that we are just printing the output. Let me go and run this. So same thing, what is the weather in Paris, and can you help me with the travel guide? So let me maximize this. So if you see here, in a moment it will return the result. So it just returns the result, the current weather in Paris, it's whatever is that. And it also provides some information. It also tells us that which PDF it referred to. So instead of Paris, let me try with a different city here. Let me try with London here. Let's see what does it does. So again, like London, I already uploaded a file, so it should respond back from that particular file, right? So it says that what is the weather in London, and and it returns some of this information from the file. And this is how you can create your own tools and make use of that. Say like you want to interact with SharePoint API or some other external APIs, you can always build a tool as long as you have a REST endpoint to reach out, right? And if it takes authentication, you have to take care of the authentication as well. But most of the time, in these kind of a scenarios, rather than authentication, we will be using a keys. So if you see here, like in our current weather implementation, if we just come over here, the key, it's a hard coded here, means like we will not be hard coding the keys, but for demo purposes I have the keys hard coded. So likewise, these kind of APIs will not be using the authentication, rather like it will be using the API keys. So that's how we can use the tools in our prompt flow. That's all I have for this video. Thank you for watching.